Good morning. This is Aisha Khalid, and this is today's Quiet Echo. A man sat in my exam room this spring, and he apologized to me for his teeth. He had not come in about his teeth at all. He came in about being tired, the particular kind of tired a working man only notices when it starts to cost him something out on the job. But when I leaned in close to listen to his heart, he brought his hand up near his mouth, a small quick reflex, and he told me he was sorry. He knew they were bad. He had not been to see a dentist in years. And he said it the way people apologize for a thing they have long ago decided is their own private fault and nobody else's business in the world. I have been thinking about him all week because of something a team of researchers stood up and presented just this week at a big heart meeting over in Boston. They were studying the most common serious disease of the valves of the heart. It is the one where the aortic valve, over many years, slowly grows thicker and stiffer with calcium until at last the blood can barely squeeze its way through. And what they found, looking carefully at the tissue of both mice and human beings, were the fingerprints of a bacterium. Now, it was not some exotic bacterium of the heart. It was the plain, ordinary germ of gum disease. It appears the very same little organism which loosens the teeth in your head may also be helping quietly to turn a valve of your heart to stone. Now, I want to be very careful and very honest with you about exactly what this is. It was presented at a scientific meeting. It has not yet been all the way through the hard review other scientists are going to give it. It is a strong and a genuinely interesting early finding. It is not a settled fact, and I would not for anything want you to switch off your radio this morning frightened. Mice are not men. And an early finding is not yet a proof of anything. But I also would not want you to miss the plain and simple thing sitting right underneath it. Because the plain thing is old, and it is true, and it was known a very long time before anybody gathered in Boston this week. The body keeps one ledger. It does not keep two. I think about this a great deal in my line of work. A person will come in and tell me, very sincerely, how a trouble in one corner of themselves has nothing whatever to do with a trouble in another. The sore gum has nothing to do with the tired heart. The bad night of sleep has nothing to do with the aching back. And I understand why we think this way. We are each of us cut up into departments now, one doctor for this and another for the next thing over, a different waiting room for every part. But the body never got the memo. The body was never once divided into departments. It is all one country, and the blood carries the news everywhere, to every border of it, without a passport. We have taught people, without ever quite meaning to, a quiet little falsehood. We have taught them the mouth is a separate country. The teeth, we say, are cosmetic, a matter of vanity, the thing you fix if you happen to have the money, and the thing you let go of quietly if you do not. The dentist lives in a different building. He bills through a whole different plan. And he is the very first appointment to fall off the list the moment the budget gets thin. And so, little by little, a person comes to think of his own mouth as a kind of spare room, shut off, closed up. A place apart from the real house where the real living gets done. But it is not a spare room at all. It is the front door. The old physicians, you know, they always looked in the mouth first, before anything else, because the mouth tells you the truth the rest of the body is still busy keeping to itself. Everything happening in there, the bleeding gum, the quiet low infection you have long since stopped even noticing, all of it empties out into the very same blood which feeds the very same heart. Your body has never once believed the story of the mouth as some minor, faraway place. It has been reading every single word of you all along. There was a line from one of the doctors on this work I have not been able to set back down. For a great many people, he said, the dentist is their only regular contact with the entire system of care. Sit for a moment with what it means. A cleaning twice a year is for millions of people the one and only time a trained set of hands looks closely at any part of them at all. And it is the very appointment we have decided is optional, the one we skip to make the numbers come out right. So here is the small thing I would leave with you this morning, and it costs about what a toothbrush costs. If you have been putting the dentist off because it feels to you like a luxury, I would gently ask you to run the arithmetic again. You may well be skipping the cheapest heart care in this whole town. Brush at night when it matters the very most. and go on and see the person you have been quietly apologizing to no one about. The man in my room did not need me to forgive him for his teeth. He needed someone to tell him his mouth was never a separate country from his heart. It never once was. I told him the appointment he was so ashamed of might turn out to be one of the more important ones he could make all year. And I meant it in a good deal more ways than he knew. The front porch is open. When did you last see a dentist, and what has kept you away? Come and tell us. And if we get something wrong, tell us, and we will run the correction. The readers of the Cedar Valley News are gathering to share their stories and keep company with respect and no party lines. Come sit with us. I will put the link in the show notes. This is Aisha Khalid, your host for today's Quiet Echo. Thanks for listening. Quiet Echo is part of the fictional Cedar Valley News series, written by Evan Swenson, publisher, and Claude Marshall, AI developmental editor. While the people and town of Cedar Valley are fictional, the research is real. At the American Heart Association's Basic Cardiovascular Sciences Scientific Sessions in Boston, held July 13 to 16, 2026, investigators presented preliminary findings linking the gum disease bacterium, Porphyromonas gingivalis, to calcification of the aortic valve in mouse and human tissue. As the episode says, the work is early and not yet peer-reviewed. The point about regular dental visits being, for many people, their only steady contact with the healthcare system came from the American Heart Association's Chief Medical Officer for Prevention.
You've been listening to the Cedar Valley News Podcast, where small-town voices meet the headlines shaping our world. From faith and family to front porches and fields. We'll be back with more stories connecting real lives to real events. Until next time, keep your porch light on, your faith strong, and your heart open. This is Cedar Valley News.